Hi, welcome back to the Gabster channel. I'm going to talk today about a couple of things. One is how to build the Gabster TD1 for those who do not know how to solder at all and wants an easy way without the PCM board. And the second, how to fix a small error that is on the Gabster TD1 board and that needs fixing. On the good news, there's been a couple of my subscribers who already built their Gabster TD1 Dac, and they're having some great success, and they really love the sound. And some of them have some DACs that are really expensive and high-end, and they found that the TD1 sounded a lot better. So I'm very excited about this because it's always till you see what other people are experiencing, and with different systems, different setup, different speakers and all that stuff, you never know 100% sure. So it's very reassuring news, and I hope for those of you who have actually hooked it up and experiencing the great sound, please share it on forums and threads and spread the news. It just helps the cause of the Gabster TD1 Dac. And also there's a lot of sometimes haters there that never even tried it, that just want to trash it. So it's good to know from people who have firsthand, who have actually tried it, actually experienced the sound, that really know what they're talking about. First, let's start with fixing the small error on the TD1 board. There is one capacitor, C27, where one of its pads should be connected to ground and is not. Luckily, it's a super easy fix. I'm going to show you how to do that. It doesn't seem to affect the sound, but it could, and it's something that is not correct and should be addressed and should be corrected. I'm going to put a link of that video in the description below, and I'll just quickly put it towards the end of this video as well, just in case you want to watch it without having to click on anything. And the second thing that we're going to talk about is for those of you who, let's say, order the assembled kit where it comes fully assembled and I've got all the wires connected to it, and usually these are people that either A, don't have the time to solder it, or they don't know how to solder and they don't want to fuss around. So for those audiophiles that are basically don't want to use any soldering, and you're not using a PCM board, because if you are using a PCM board, sadly you have to connect those UFL connectors. They don't come on the PCM board. I wish Ian put those assembled on it. At least it would make life easier for some folks. But either way, so there is a way without using a PCM board and without connecting anything and soldering anything, you can still get great sound. I'm going to show you how to do that and how to build it in such a way where you actually don't need any of this. So we'll be using the configuration where basically it's like the old traditional way, while still have the DEM connected to the I2S signal, which kind of like a good middle ground to still get a great sound and not have to solder anything. So if you just want to watch how to fix a little error on the Gabster TD1 Dac, just skip to the very end of this video. And for those of you who are interested in knowing how to run the TD1 in a mode where it does not need a PCM card and still have a good sound, stick around and we're going to put this thing together step by step. Also, I know before I said please don't send me messages about all your problems and stuff like that, because I'm too busy. I am busy, but if you are really stuck and there's nothing you can do, and I really don't want you to not have the experience and still end up fixing the problem. So please message me. But first, read all the troubleshooting that are on my website, because there are a lot of solutions for different problems there. And if you're still having problems and we tried absolutely everything, send me a note and I'll see how I can help you. I'm going to show you how to build the DAC on top of the streamer in a regular mode, because then you don't need the PCM. We don't have the PCM card, you want to use it. So if you want to use it in just a traditional mode, then you don't need two shields of these, you just need the one of them. So first thing, let's start from the level where I already showed you in another video how to get to the stage building the streamer by IanCanada. So you get to the 54Q7 stage. If you haven't seen this video, I'll put a link in the description below. So once you get to the stage, you're going to add, basically, you're going to take a 20mm standoff and a 6mm standoff. These are included in your extra parts kits. if you purchase the whole kit. If not, just buy a whole bunch of these things and you can put enough to get 26 millimeters or something close to that, 25, 27, 24, that will work. So we're going to put 4 of those in here. So the whole idea is to clear the Monitor Pi Pro, because that thing is noisy. The clocks also, they're very noisy. They actually don't want to have noise around them, but themselves are noisy. So you need to clear all this noisy parts so it does not affect your next stage. So that's why we're going to build a little bit higher to clear everything, and then we're going to put a shield. And this is the last one of the 4. Next, you're going to grab one of the Gabster shields for the TD1, and you are going to put 15 millimeter standoffs on one side. On the other side, there's actually a nut. So just tighten those nuts and have 15 millimeter standoffs on all. And you're going to slide that on top, just like so. And before you put the shield on, you need to put your UFL cables, because it'll be hard to do that after you put the shield. It'll be very awkward. So you've got more access now. So let's do that now. So we're going to put, you only need 3. You don't need 4, just 3 of them. So SCK, LRCK, and SDD1. Just going to zoom in on this a little bit more. So again, you got, these are 10 centimeter UFL cables. So just make sure you basically you line them up pretty good. Don't push on it unless it's lined up first. There we go. And we're going to do the other 2. So here you can see the UFL cable. We got the SCK, LRDO, and SDD1. So just those 3. You do not need the master clock for this mode. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to grab one of the shields, the Gabster TD1S shield. And you're going to put 15 millimeter standoffs on it on one side and a nut on the other side. So you're going to put that in the 4 corners that have kind of little X's on them. And you're going to put that on the very top right here, just like so. And you're going to secure that with 4 nuts again. So you should have at least 8 nuts in your kit. Next, we're going to grab the Gabster TD1 Dac, and we're going to put it on the very far top here. Now, before you screw that in, make sure you have things set up in the proper setup. If you're not sure, check my configuration when I talk about the different mode. So this is the traditional mode with the clock tied to the I2S signal. So you will need 2 jumpers on J3 and 4. So we're going to put 2 jumpers right here. So one here, one here. And then we're going to make sure that the OB mode is on the +5. So OB plus, that's where the other jumper is. And you're going to connect J24 as well. So you're going to put a jumper on J24 in this traditional mode. And so this is the traditional mode, but we have the clock. Instead of the DEM, it's tied to the I2S signal. We're going to put our board actually like so. And now that we've made sure that the mode is set up correctly, we are going to go ahead and put 4 screws on the very top. There we go. Now the last thing you want to do is connect the UFL connectors. They will just barely make it, so you just have to be patient with them. And I got the last one in. So again, you remember the order. So their BCK is the first one on this side, then LRCK, and then D1. If you put them respectively, they're a little bit different order here, so just so you know. And so yeah, these are just make it. There's probably maybe half a centimeter still left for leeway. The next step from 10 centimeter was 15 centimeter. That's way a bit too long. The shorter these cables are, the better. But also they have to be exact same length. So don't put like 1/8 and 1/10. You have to be the same length. There'll be problems with the way the frequencies come in. So here you have it. You've got it all set up in traditional mode. So you've got basically the shield and the Gabster TD1. So we're only using one of the shields. Now a little variation, if you like, you know where the clocks are. You could stick like a kind of rubbery thing in there and squeeze it between the shield and the clocks just to apply a bit of pressure on them. That usually keeps them more secure, more damping, and also less vibrations. And again, you're going to get better clock as a system as well. Now, what are all the rest of the cables for? I went through them when we built the streamer, but I'll just quickly go do that again. So you've got a 3.3 volt here coming from the Ropieee to the 54Q7, so that's a 3.3 volt. There is nothing on the 5 volt side. There is nothing. You don't need to connect anything. These guys are already pre-connected internally. Then we have a cable that comes from the basically Monitor Pi Pro here, and it goes into the J10 of the Ropieee, and this is to keep batteries and the capacitors charging here between songs, so that's what that is. And this is another one. This is like an output of that same system. So you can actually send this to a UC Pure power system so to also charge those. And from there you can just daisy chain as many as you want. So this is one way when you want to actually connect more than, so you want to connect the Ropieee to charge between songs and also other UC Pures as well. So that's why you get that cable here. Now all you have to do is supply 5 volt to this Ropieee board, and then we have the Gabster TD1 that's going to need 15 volt and plus 5 and minus 5 volt. I went through all the options you can use for power in another video. I'll again put a link of it below if you want to look at that just to see what's your option into powering these. But just briefly, if you want in a quick thing, for the 15 volt, maybe an i5 15 volt probably might be the easiest for most folks, so you don't have massive batteries. And then for the plus 5 and the minus 5, this is when maybe you can have either some like a 2 linear pies like this, and you supply them with a transformer, some AC here, and they come out from here. From here you have the option to put UC Pures on, UcConditioners on top or not, depends on your level of safety that you want to go for. But this will probably be intermediate because there is still some wiring to do with the high voltage, like the 120, you have a transformer and all that kind of stuff. And a step above that, you can use 2 UC Pure with the 2 big ultra capacitors. You got to be very careful with those, so do that at your own risk because that could be dangerous. But it is the best power supply. And if you want to play it super safe, you can get 2 maybe like little i5 power supplies for the plus 5 and the minus 5, and you're good. Do not use power supplies where the ground is connected to the negative of the power supply. If you are getting the i5, actually you get a little affiliate link in the description below. It will help the channel a tiny bit. If you, when you order, just click on that link. It will really help me a little bit. But to go back to the i5 thing, this is a tradition, like a basic i5. There's only 2 prongs here to plug into the power. Another fellow that was using basically an i5 Elite, which is a very expensive $500 thing, but it had a 3-prong outlet, so it has a ground basically on the power, and that ground was connected to the negative of the, so the ground connected to the negative of the power supply, and that's a no-no, because on the 15 volt, because they are inverted, it's a minus 15 actually internally, you'll be shorting the board. And if you don't see it right away, as soon as you plug the RCA in an amplifier that has grounded RCA plugs, you will see that short. So please be careful. Do not use any power supply. If you have a power supply that has 3 prongs, test with a test meter that there is no connection between the negative and the ground of the power supply. And that's same for the plus 5 and the minus 5. You cannot connect 2 power supplies. A, they have to be independent, and B, they cannot be grounded again to the negative, or there will be an instant short. I'm actually going to play that video. I'm going to add it to this video just in case it is an important thing, so people are aware of this phenomena. Now, another thing you can do, because you still have a spare basically shield, if you want, you can just stack it on top of the other one. So just double up the shield. It's sitting anyway, might as well use it for something. It can also be used on top like that, and so you put your standoffs and you secure it, and on the side you can put basically copper plates all around, and now you have a case. This is how these are designed. That's why you see the little ground here. They're slightly bigger than the board below them, just so you can have that basically copper all perimeter all around. And I'll explain that in another video because that's a pretty cool feature. Hi, this is going to be a very quick video about the little error that is on the board that I would like you guys to fix. It doesn't affect the sound, but if you have some very long lead, it may, and I would like you to correct it. Luckily, the fix is super easy, it only takes a few seconds. And it's about the 15-volt supply coupling caps. One of the pad is not connected to ground. So I'm just going to show you how to do it super easily. So the pad in question is C27, the positive lead right here. And if you have built your board already, that is C27, because once you put it in, you won't be able to tell which one it is. So it's the one that's actually the closest to the TDA chip. Now, if we flip the board on the other side, that would be this pad right here. So as you can see, this is your RCA jacks, and that would be this pad right here. There's a lot of ground around it, so it's a really easy fix. All we have to do is just scratch a little bit around it and just add a bit of solder. If you haven't built it yet, just wait till you're putting the capacitor and then do that little correction. And if I'm sending some of the late one that I've sent actually the last couple of days, I've already made that correction already on the board. So you might see a little bit of solder or dab of solder in here. So then you know why. Now, if you don't have any pointy instruments, the easiest thing to do is to grab a little flat screwdriver, just like that. And with the corner edge of the screwdriver, just pick the outer part here, because lots of room here versus the other side, you've got another pad. So just on this side, you have tons of room here. Just at the corner, just scratch a little bit away. Just take your time. And what you want to do is just expose a little bit of copper. I would go a little bit generous. You can go a little bit around it too, just to be on the safe side. And just like that, so just expose a little bit of copper, and then we're going to basically add a tiny bit of flux here and just solder those two together. Tiny bit of flux, you don't need much, just very, very little. And then I'm just going to add a bit of solder here. Just make sure you spend some time so it actually gets to the pad and connects properly. And that's it. That's pretty much all you need to do. If you do want to test the connection, basically just put your meter on continuity, put one on the pad here, and basically it should be connected to any of the grounds, like the 0 between here, between plus and 5. It's also connected to the plus 15 volts. And that's why, if you were wondering why is the plus of the capacitor connected to ground, it's because this one is actually connected to the plus 15 volt. It's not connected to any of the other ones, so the plus 5 or the minus 5. Make sure your power supply does not have the negative grounded, especially if you have like a 3-prong plug. There's a possibility if you check the ground of the cable and the negative of your power supply, you should not hear a beep. I had one fellow who was using an i-Fi power adapter, but he's using the Elite, a very expensive one, and I guess it comes with a 3-prong wire, and the ground is tied to the negative of the power supply. And that's not on the regular i-Fi. You don't, they're just 2 prongs, and they're negative, they're not connected in any way to anything to the power. But for some rare power supplies, if that is the case, you're going to have a problem. The TDA1541A, it takes what they call a minus 15 volts. So what does that mean is basically your plus 15 goes on the ground, and your negative goes on the basically the TDA. So when you have a grounded power supply, you're actually shorting the 15 volt power supply. You're going to have a short, and the way that happens is you won't see it right away when you plug it in, but as soon as you plug it in, for example, in your amplifier from your RCA jack, this is grounded. Not grounded to the ground, but this is connected to the what we call the ground, which is the zero of between 5 and -5. So that's connected to that. It's also connected to the plus on the 15 volt, not the 0. Don't let the 2 zeros fool you. Now, as long as the TDA DAC is not grounded in any way, like you didn't purposely put the ground on the 0, you won't have any problems. But when you do connect it with an amplifier, for example, that has their input grounded, and some are and some aren't, in that case, you're going to basically have a short on either your 15 volt, or also if you're connecting the +5 and -5 together to make that +0, -5, even without connecting anything, you're going to have an issue as well. I hope you found this video useful. I'm going to put a link in the corner here about how to configure the Gabster TD1 Dac. In the other corner, I'm going to put a link on things you need to do and watch for before you even power it, just to be on the safe side. There'll be a link in the middle with a speaker if you'd like to subscribe. Take care. I'll see you again.